Um, yeah, we are live, I guess. Yes, we are live. Hello, everyone. In this video, I will try to share some of the Rails things that I have been learning in the last couple of years. So we'll try to make a small app to-do application, then see how far we can go. Maybe extend it to do something cool thing, or maybe we don't know. So before I start, let me give something. Tell something about myself. I been working as a software engineer for a while in the last 4 or 5 years, and mostly working in multiple technologies. Um, start with Rails is something I really like. I mean, it's something I would like to share everybody and say like, okay, tomorrow if you want to build a web application, just Rails application. That's something I will always say. um, yeah, so let's get started. So I have locally installed Rails in my computer, which I can see if I open my terminal. I see that I have installed 7.0 as Rails and Ruby version of 3.1. So what I'm gonna do is I will just create the application first. So I'll just say Rails new, say to do app Rails. While it's running, let me talk about something about Rails. So I really enjoy building application using Ruby on Rails, mostly because most of the application that I have been working on, I found will have to write a lot of boilerplate codes, or have to do a lot of um, um, searching for a lot of libraries outside of the framework. But what I found in Rails is like everything what I need, from ORM to view controller, everything I can find inside the application, and they have like most of the things standardized, so it's easy to follow. So I'll just go to here, and since I have already run the bundle install, um, by default it will use um, SQLite as a database, and I just can go ahead and create the database. So the command for creating a database is Rails DB create. So if I go Rails DB, it will gonna go to Rails console, and I say Rails DB create. It should create the database, but yeah, and I can say Rails DB migrate, which has nothing actually at this point, and I say Rails service, and I say local source 3000. So yeah, this basic um, this is the first page of the application is already created. So now what I can do is open another terminal, and just start with writing some code. I will open it into the BS Code. I don't really enjoy BS Code for Rails. I Some people like it. For me, RubyMine is something I always prefer, but which is fine, I guess. For this small application, I'll just make initial commit. Um, okay, add. So I have nothing at this point. So what I'm going to do is try to make a to-do application. So Rails has something very cool command line. If I show Rails scaffold something, which will generate all your model, view, controller, and everything. So if you see, it will connect controller, view, and everything, which is pretty nice, and I really like it. If you say like this is for destroy and generate for generates couple books, it will generate like your create, read, update, everything, which we can use it at this time. I think Rails generate maybe to do, and then just a naming convention in Rails, like we have to follow. There is a user guide Rails naming convention. There's a GitHub page. I look into it, like even though I have been using for a long time, I always miss it. So the database name, model name, always something you put as a smaller case, but the database create will be a plural from so something like that. And control name always come as a, if you see, plural, something like this. So even route also plural. So routes, it start with plural. Profile, whatever. So I can say like to do has the title of string and done as boolean, or maybe version complete is complete, and then I can say maybe content, maybe text. If I do that, it is, if you see, it is creating a migration. We'll see what is creating. It's create my model and all the unit tests, and these are all the template, ERB template. I don't prefer to use ERB. There is something HTML which I will move into just in a little bit. It create my test controller, and I have the helper also if I want to use it. And this is the JBuilder, which is like if I want to use in JSON or something. Now I have to do Rails DB migrate because I have changed something on my database, and my server is running already. So what I can do is like go ahead and see. If I go to do's, I'll see that, yeah, it come back. And if I say new to do's, I'll say like title to do one content. This is my first to do, and it's complete. Yes. Initially, let's say I create to do, and yeah, so I have one to do now. I can create a new to do also. Title 2 here, title 2, and I say complete. So now I have 1 and 2. What I can do is like edit also. For example, this one to do is false. Is edit and say like is complete true, and I update it. If I saw back to do, I say complete as true. Which is, I kind of like it. I just had to write any code so far, but when you do a lot of modification, of course you have to come back and need to know where to start and how to go through. So I'll just show you what are the changes I have made in this, right? If I say get status, I'll see like I have a controller changes, right? If I before control, I will just explain on the routes part, right? So if I go config and routes, I said there is a resource called to do's. Well, when I say resource, it will create all the block, right? Your create, index, show, delete, all the routes, but you can namespace by like, okay, I want to define only index page or root page. So something like this you can do. So here, for example, I can say what is my root page. So I can say to do's and index. Now if I load only this, it should give me this index page already, which is quite nice, I would say. Like I don't have to do write a lot of code for just writing an index page. And next is the controller, right? So in the controller, if you notice, we have first line is before action set to do, which means like before even hit to any of this method, it will run this will run this method set to do's for these of the options and set the variable of to do, which is this one, to do. And what does it mean? Like if I run /1, for example, it will run the first to do, to do slash, it will run the first to do's, and you can see this in console also if we want to. So if you see that it tried to run the first to do's, and then it just go to the show. For example, this is the route it create, right? Like for index it give me all the to do's. For the show it give me the first new, which is like when I create a new to do's, which doesn't say create part is the one, edit is the same. And if I go back to views, okay, before views, so I need to show you the model also, right? Model is nothing here. It's like pretty much like it doesn't have anything, right? But let's say I want to add a validation, right? So if I just say empty content update, it's still creating, right? But I want to add a validation. So what I can do is like I can use the validation of in the model level, right? So if I search in Rails models validation, you'll see that I have validated presence is true, the first line. I can just copy and I can say instead of content as a content. Now if I just go back to edit again and then to update, it's just like okay, content cannot be blank, test content. Okay, now we can update, which is nice actually. This is how we can validate. There are a lot of validation options we available. Just if you go through the documentation, they will be able to see. Now next is the view. So in the view we have all these form, right? So when I go to this page, this will give me the index page, which is nothing but this index.html.erb. What it does is like in the index of the controller, if I show you, it has a variable called to do's. What it does, like each of the to do's render to do, which is the which is a template in Ruby way we call it partial, and pass the to do's. And in the partial we see that in the partial to do we see that we have the title, content, and is complete, all this thing, right? And same as index, we have this edit, create new, right? When you have a new, this is the template it load, and it render the form, which is nothing but this form, which has this from label name, text field, and checkbox. Anything we change here is, let's say tomorrow we want to add a new, we have to go back to our create a new migration. We're gonna talk about migration next maybe, and then update all the places, right? So let's do that. Maybe that will be easy to explain. So now we have this to do running. Let's say we want to add a new field called user, who is the one created the to do or update the to do. Maybe at this point we don't reference but just say string, right? Just we say that it generate migration to do model. And now you see previously we had one migration, which is the create. Now we'll have this change migration. So we said the add column to do. Now we say that created by string, right? Migrate. sorry, it's supposed to be to do's, my bad. Now if we see our model, when we try to new to do, we don't see the who is the user creator, right? To be able to do that, first we go in the form and we just copy this block and we say that who is that created by, right? Created by period dot, yeah, we have this created by now. Now even if we now try to save hi 3, maybe this is content, maybe me, is me is my name, let's say. And now if we back, now the who is the creator we are not able to see here. To see this, as we mentioned, this is the template. Now we just have to do is one thing, I have to copy created by. Now if you see that created by is empty, this is, but then now why all the places created by is empty, we need to figure it out, right? Which is because if we go to our controller, you will see that we are not filtering created by. So what it does is Ruby will gonna only allow those variables which are defined here. So we can say created by, and now again we try to edit maybe, and maybe me. Now back to to-dos is me, which is available. So this is how we can edit a to-do also. And next part is maybe see if we can delete also, right? We can go and destroy. Okay, this we can destroy also. Now instead of me as a created by, I want to be able to have a table called user, and this user should be a username, right? That can be done also. So we have to create a model called user. Let's do that, right? Let's generate. When we start a model, we create another scaffold where we gonna say, okay, his username, and maybe just age, maybe. We'll say that maybe user, and what else we need? Maybe name string, and maybe okay, we do this way. We say first name, we do last name, and maybe username, and maybe password. We're gonna do authentication later. Maybe instead of username we put a email, maybe to uniquely identify. That's it. Now we can say users. Okay, I have to run a migration. tb migrate. Now I can create a user. First name is maybe me, last me at gmail.com. Now there is no relationship at this point between this me and to do, right? So what we have to do, we need to build this relationship, which is like adding a foreign key to the to do table. So what we do is, like, again we need to generate a migration, right? Rel generate migration, add user to do table. Now if we go here, we can say that add references. I believe this is the migration. I need to check. um, See, I also forget. Rails migration reference. Yeah, so this is the one, add references. Now this is the if you explain, it says that add references, where we do the add user reference to product table, right? Product is the table. For us it will be to do's, and they said that users, which is our user, foreign key true, right? And if we say rails db migrate, yeah, this is done. Now in the from, we can say user directly. To-dos, in the to-dos in the from, we'll say that instead of created by, we can say user. But this user, we need to know who is the user, right? And then created by is not a um, good way to define, because we already have the user reference, so we can destroy also the created by, right? So what we do is, like, again we generate a migration. We could do it together, but that's okay. Remove created by from table. For deleting, I forget. Remove reference, yes. But we don't need remove reference. We just send remove column. We just say remove column to do's and that by. Now we will not have any created by in our to do column. 1 second, I will just put my laptop on charge. And yes, now if we run this, you will see that the created by is not here anymore, even here also, right? Now, okay, we are in the user, sorry. So created by is not here anymore. So what we can do is, we know that user is on one of our option. So let's go back to the index page where is template to do HTML. Instead of created by, we say that user. But this is still not enough, because we didn't say who is the user, right? And what we can do is, in the user model, we say that belongs to is user. Now this will know that, okay, hey, this belong to user. But now we will always have a empty ID for each of the user, right, at the beginning. So what we can do is, on the sorry belongs to has many, sorry, it will be in the to do, and user we can say has many to do's. If we run, we'll see that, okay, show this to do, and you try to edit, we have this created by already. Now because we in the form we said that this is the created by, now this variable it is not exist anymore. So what we have to do is, instead of created by, we'll say that user id. So this will save as a user id. Now this user id have to be a valid id. Let's try to save somebody with random value and save it. You'll say that, okay, we still try to get created by, sorry, user, let's say one user must exist. Okay, yeah, so it doesn't reloading problem probably. So as we see, the it says that user must exist. Now currently if we see what are the user we have here, we have the first user, we don't know the id, maybe we show the id also at this time. um, for the users, id is 1, so we say id is 1. Okay, id is 1, but id is not accepting because we are not accepting user id here also. Instead of created by, we say user id 1. Now we have this user reference, right? It's created by this user. Now to show this user, what we can do in the user model, we can set a toString method. We can say to yes. Now if we say that me last name, that way you can show the username also. Now it's kind of weird, like every time we have to search one or two, right? What we can do is like we can just put a drop down where we can say that, okay, hey, every time there is a user, you give me a drop down and I choose who is the user. That would be nice to have, right? We can use a drop down in the from. So what we do first is, in here instead of a user id, we'll just add a user. And how we do that is, there is a, if you go rails from, we know that there is a collection. So this rails collection drop down, yeah, I'm looking for the ap doc, yeah. So as you see here, this is the select, right? And every time there is a select option, we can figure it out what is the select value, and which can be done for the, we are using here is a form width, right? So for this form we also have select, this is the checkbox, and then there should be another one called drop down. I'm pretty sure they have something called drop down. So in here they have something drop down. I can just use this, but I'm pretty sure I have to modify. I can find something. Input, select. Yeah, so as I was saying, this probably is not the best way to do it. There are a lot of libraries to do this kinds of thing. For now, we can just use something like this, which Ruby offer by default. So what we do is, like, here is a city ID, which is our user ID, and we just say all the options, right? Which is nothing but pretty much easy to explain, I guess. So let's do this way. So we have our user ID. What we do is we do from the select tag user ID, and for now we have only one. Let's say this works, hopefully. To be from dot select, I think. Yeah, so now we have something that works. Now question is, this percentage is coming from where? Okay, this one, we don't expect this. Maybe I remove this whole thing. Now in the drop down, if I inspect, I have the select tag and option as a value, but I don't have multiple. So there should be a way. And it says that if I want to create, I can do something like this, which I can do, I guess. I need more help, I think, from internet. Probably this is a good option. Yeah, this is, I think, one of another good way to do it. So this is something I can use, I think, from the Ruby docs they have provided, right? I have this user id user.all. Maybe this works, I'm not sure. It says the impact symbol to hash, but this one I can just I don't need this, so okay, yeah, this seems to be fine. Now if I try to update, does it, I can create a new user, maybe user me too plus me at gmail.com. If I refresh, I should see 2 user here. Okay, me too. If I update and back to do, I should see me too as a user. So me last. How about this one? If I edit, say me too. Okay, the user is not updating, so what I'm sending is content user as a user id. Now there is changes in the control I have to do. User id is not valid anymore. What I can do is a user id. I'm sending user id as to where user, and on that to do I have to say accept nested attributes. I forget something like this. I think not this. I'm sending is user, but I'm not trying to save. So basically in the controller what I can do in different way. So in that to do, when I'm trying to update, I'm passing the all the param. Okay, let me try something here. Maybe let's see. Dot. So I have this user id here. So instead of passing here, as a select collection, what if I do something like this? Does it work? If that collection, then user all. Does it work? Passion Rails. maybe this is a better way to do. From okay, now here is, we can say, how we are sending now. Okay, we are sending the string, but we need to send the ID. How we used to send last time? We can take some information from here. So we say all, then we say that user ID is user all. This only accept the user. Issue now. I think I have some issue with the cache. Yeah, if I say user ID Milas, now we just in here in the controller, we can just say instead we can roll back to previous one. We say that user ID. Now it will send as a user, but we can change it the user ID. So how we can do it is using this. Previously we saw like here we pass user ID. If I say ID, I should pass only the ID. This was working. Okay, there's another way. I need to pass. I can do something like this, which is fine. Let's see how this is expecting. Collection and I don't pass a collection, it's giving me something like this. And to do this, okay, so this should work. Yep, I can pass 2 and 1 is last name. Okay, so I am able to create user. I'm gonna stop here for today. So next time we can create the authentication based on the username password. I'm pretty sure the last part was bit hiccup, but I'm not in touch for a long time, so I guess that's fine. I was able to create the user and then all the stuff, right? So if I just go now, what we have done so far is I can show the I can see the to-dos, everything. If I go to show, I can edit, or I can go back and create a new to-do where I can select the user, which I have title 3 and complete, and I have that user. I can create a new user here also. Again, now I can create a new user, user 3, third user, email at email. Later we gonna use this email address for authentication purpose. Now if we go to edit, I should be able to see my third user. Yep, pretty much that's it. See you. Bye.